Who here responds to their WhatsApp messages? I'm not the best person when it comes to responding to messages across social networks, but even I, in spite of all my misgivings about social media direct messaging, do respond to WhatsApp messages with far more consistency than anything else. More so, it is very obvious that WhatsApp has sort of replaced traditional texting for most people. And that's how we stay in touch with friends, with family. We make plans, all the family group chats. So it's kind of the default for connecting with other people in a more private setting. And it is also a tool utilized by short-term rental managers to connect with guests where possible, as it is a more reliable way to make sure that the information you want goes to your guests. Anything they need to know about check-in, check-out, codes, etc., any house rules, guides, it can be a good starting point for a conversation. So wouldn't it make sense that if instead of texting your friends for making travel plans, instead you made travel plans using a WhatsApp AI and have it plan your entire vacation for you? That's kind of the concept that I'm exploring for today's video. This is our second video. Hi, I'm Yuvika Wahi from RSU by PriceLabs, your go-to source for short-term rental news and insights. If you're a short-term rental manager, we don't just report the news for you. We tell you what it means for your business. Now, this is the second video in a series that we have running all through the month of October, where we explore how AI is sort of reshaping how people book their travel, or how they're inspired to travel, how they find the right stays, how they book these stays. So in my last video, I did a walkthrough of Perplexity Travel Inspiration Hub and basically the experience your average user might have trying to use it for travel inspo, information, itinerary making, etc. And today I want to talk about WhatsApp AIs, specifically with the example of a tool called GuideGeek. Now, GuideGeek is basically a free AI travel assistant created by Matador Network. And GuideGeek is powered by OpenAI, so the same as ChatGPT, for example, and it works entirely within messaging platforms, so Instagram messages, Facebook Messenger, and of course, WhatsApp. So for today's exercise, I specifically want to look at the example of WhatsApp and see how your average traveler might use such an AI to book travel, to find somewhere to go, and what that might mean for the short-term rental industry. How that might apply in our context. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at GuideGeek. Meet your personal travel genius, plan complex trips in minutes, real-time info for flights, stays, restaurants, and experiences. So immediately we can see that it runs the entire gamut of a travel trip and not just really limiting itself to flights alone or stay alone. You can use the search bar to ask a question in natural language, like, hey, I'm thinking of visiting Portugal for a week, and start the conversation there. Or you can choose one of the ready prompts right below. If you click on the prompt, it's going to show up the answer for you. But what we're really interested in is the option to chat, because that's what really is unique about GuideGeek. GuideGeek is not the only sort of like AI travel planner of this sort. There's also other platforms. I think there's one called Layla.ai. I understand that Expedia has Romi with an IE, and also like other big booking platforms like Booking.com. They are sort of introducing their own components of such an AI travel planner onto their own platforms, so that you can use natural language search and then you can book within the platform. Booking.com has in fact hinted at, well, now it's more than a hint, I would say, that it's actually working on its own sort of like version of ChatGPT, which is entirely focused on travel bookings. And the idea is to, use this really sort of immense breadth of data, booking data that Booking.com has, to utilize that to create sort of an engine where people can find places to go, book flights, book experiences, places to stay all in one place. but the recommendations are obviously a lot richer because they will be based on this extensive booking.com data, which booking.com may not be able to share, or any other platform may not be able to share with an external integration to that degree, because obviously privacy laws, etc. There is degrees of limitations on how much you can do when you partner with an external platform, let's say with ChatGPT for that matter. Let's get back on our main topic for today, which is using a WhatsApp AI to plan travel, where GuideGeek is available for you, through which you can use GuideGeek. You can use it on Facebook Messenger, like I mentioned, on Instagram, or on WhatsApp. So let's click on open on WhatsApp. This is a permission that it's seeking. All right, so here we are. Let's just start with a good old hello, I guess. Okay, so since I'm using WhatsApp on my desktop, not every option is, I'm assuming it will not display things correctly. Well, it didn't seem to stop it from interacting with. It quickly adapted and asked me a text-based question instead. I'm assuming there was something different on mobile. Maybe I can take a look at that separately for you. And obviously, since now my phone number is Portuguese, I live in Lisbon, Portugal, it has instantly responded in Portuguese. It's asking me, how can I help you in your travel adventures today? Do you have a destination in mind? So I'm going to try to, after 8 years in Portugal, my Portuguese is still tenuous at best. So I'm going to try to speak to it in English, and if it continues to respond in Portuguese. Wait, actually, this is a great time to find out. Would you respond in English? Amazing. Okay, so we live, we learn. Absolutely. How can I assist you with your travel plans today? Any destination you're curious about? I am not sure. I have a week off available in mid-December, and I am looking for inspiration. Now I'm trying to converse with it in a way that your average traveler would. I haven't given it much information at this point. GuideGeek has my phone number because we are interacting on WhatsApp. It has my country data, so it might probably tailor the responses to that, but let's find out. Fantastic. December is a great time to explore festive destinations or escape to warmer climates. Here are a few ideas to spark your wanderlust. Winter wonderland, so there's Lapland, Prague. Sun and sand is Tulum, Mexico, South Africa. Cultural exploration, Kyoto and Marrakesh. Let's give it more specific requirements. I am looking for somewhere quiet, but not more than a 2-3 hour flight away. I want to escape the festive season. I'm sorry if it's a bit irritating me saying it out loud, whatever I'm typing, but this is just who I am. Now, the idea is, again, I'm just sharing whatever's come to mind. I don't really have a plan in mind, but let's see what responses I get. It's thinking. Got it. A peaceful getaway sounds perfect. Here are a few serene destinations that might fit your criteria depending on your starting point. Quiet retreats. So the Cotswolds. Okay, that's interesting. The Açores in Portugal. A good choice objectively, because there really are, it's a crowd favorite, and yet you can find a lot of quiet places in the collection of islands. Lake District, England, known for its stunning lakes and mountains. It's a perfect spot for hiking and relaxation. The Algarve, Portugal. While it can be busy in summer, December is quieter. Enjoy the mild weather and beautiful coastal scenery. Interesting. And now it's asking me where I'm flying from. That might help narrow down the perfect quiet escape for you. The thing is that all the responses that I received, they are a 2 or 3 hour flight away from Lisbon. So it is kind of already calculated that this will be a flight out of Portugal. But it is possible that I'm in Portugal right now. However, I'm flying out of somewhere else in December. So it's accounting for that. I will be flying off Lisbon. Flying out of Lisbon gives you fantastic options for a peaceful retreat. Now I have options Madeira, Sevilla, Santiago de Compostela, and Valencia. So 3 options in Spain and 1 in Portugal. So let's go with Sevilla, simply because I know the city a bit, so maybe I will be able to gauge the quality of responses a bit better. Guess Sevilla sounds great. It will be just me and my partner. Where should we stay? I'm trying to steer the conversation more around accommodation options. Let's find out what happens. Sevilla is a beautiful city with plenty of charming accommodations to choose from. Here are a few options that might be perfect for a romantic stay with your partner. Lush apartment with a courtyard, designer flat on the plaza, penthouse in Sevilla's historic center, charmer by the Sevilla Cathedral. I'm interested to see what happens when I click on the link of one of the options. Okay, this is an Airbnb listing next to Giralda. I hope I said that correctly. One bedroom apartment in the best area of Sevilla. I wonder why these are the dates filled in. That's interesting. All right, so we know that one Airbnb listing. Okay, the second link is also an Airbnb and another one. Interesting. I did not get any hotel at all in the result. What about a hotel? Now, obviously, I'm really trying to find out if short-term rentals appear in the search results. So that's really what I'm concerned with. But it's interesting that in my first response, I didn't see any, it didn't give me any options for hotels at all, because I wonder if it prioritizes short-term rentals every time, no matter the destination or the requirement, or this is just adapted to my request in the moment. If you're interested in finding a hotel in Sevilla for a romantic getaway with your partner, here are some lovely hotel options that might suit your needs. Feel free to update your request with a specific check-in and check-out date for more detailed pricing, availability, and booking options. Do any of these hotels catch your interest? Okay, so what's interesting now is that in case of short-term rental, it asks me if I have any specific preferences or amenities. But in case of hotels, it's asking me for check-in, check-out dates, which is interesting to me. So let's get back to short-term rentals. I will say, actually, I like the first Airbnb you recommended. My stay dates are December 12 to 18, 2025. While I can't book accommodations directly for you, I can certainly guide you to the right place. Here's the first Airbnb I mentioned, which you can book for your stay in Valencia. I had been looking at Sevilla, and it's also giving me a price per night, which I don't know on what basis it's giving that, because a lot of accommodation options would have different prices for different nights in the year. So this is curious. I meant the one in Sevilla. So again, it's giving me a price. Actually, I want to contrast what price I get per night, because I am a little concerned about the fact that it's showing me a price per night, though the date is unavailable. There has to be a better way to choose dates. Let's just scroll to December 2025 and see available dates and choose from them instead of this highly ineffective way. So if I choose 20th, 12 to 18. Okay, now it did allow me to choose two guests, and that's 1,009 for 6 nights. That does not seem like $107 a night. This is a problem, as you can see. It can create not the best experience for someone looking at accommodations. If I'm told that the stay might cost 107 a night at first, and then when I actually look at accommodations, they cost quite a lot more than that. It's very clear. I think it's double the amount, more than that. And it's really not, in this particular scenario, it's not really an issue with the short-term rental operator, with the Airbnb host, right? Because as we know, prices will differ from date to date, from month to month, week to week. There's a seasonality plays a factor. There's a whole host of factors that might affect the price. So it's not really a great idea for a static price to appear, unless the price is also updating based on dates, which clearly that's not the case here. Okay, so I have been told to click the link to check availability and make the reservation. We've already spotted one issue, which is price per night. We know that we cannot book the Airbnb from within WhatsApp. We do have to navigate out. I wonder if we can book hotels. Can you help me book a hotel? Let's see if it tells us again that it's unable to book accommodations directly for us, because that's indeed the promise, right? You're interested in booking a hotel in Sevilla, Spain for December 12 to 18. Here are some romantic hotel options. Feel free to update your request with specific check-in, check-out dates. I like Hotel Alfonso. Third, will it allow us to book a hotel from within WhatsApp? Let's find out. Can you help me book it? Here are some additional options for your date. You are interested in booking Hotel Alfonso 13 in Sevilla, Spain from December. While I can't make the booking directly for you, I can guide you on how to proceed. You can visit their official website or use a trusted hotel booking platform like Booking.com or Expedia. These platforms will allow you to enter your travel dates and see that was an interesting exercise, because it really made a case for what is available right now for travelers to do via AI travel planners, whether that's on WhatsApp or whether that's Perplexity Travel that I explored last week. or any other channel. For the moment, from what I'm testing so far, while these AI tools do a pretty decent job of finding destinations that might suit your requirement, there are many, obviously, smaller kinks that yet to be ironed out, such as in this particular case, we saw nightly pricing, which we really should not have unless it's also updating in real time with the actual listing, right? We should not see the nightly pricing unless the person has specified their dates and you've checked the availability, etc., because it can create a jarring experience for your guests. Another issue that we've already encountered, but a bigger issue for the moment, of course, is that it's really not end-to-end trip planning if I cannot book within the channel that I am at the time. It is really travel planning and inspiration, but not the booking component is still missing, which was also the case in Perplexity Travel Inspiration Hub last week. I am aware, though, that this could be a regional thing because, for example, I know that in case of Perplexity, others have been able to complete the booking from within the tool, from within Perplexity Travel, like make payments, etc. But I was not able to do that, I'm assuming, because I'm in the EU. In the EU, there are more permissions to be had. For instance, Expedia now has this feature where you can create an AI-powered itinerary and book from an Instagram reel, which is only available in the US right now. And one of the reasons it's not available in the EU is data privacy, information privacy, etc. So it can take for some features to become available in Europe. However, that's not the only factor influencing these things. In some cases, the booking funnel is missing altogether, even though it might say that's something you can do. But as we've discovered, what are these tools? What are tools like this good for at the moment? For inspiration, for a day-to-day itinerary, it can pull from really a large database of information about a specific destination and really curate an itinerary specific to your interests. The inspiration part is definitely locked down to a large degree. Now, looking at it from a short-term rental manager's point of view, if and when travelers can plan their entire itinerary from within WhatsApp, that is a huge signal. That is yet another signal that guest communication is moving off of OTAs. We know that big booking platforms are consolidating tools in a way that more and more of the guest journey happens on the platform. However, is that something that guests prefer is another matter entirely, because guests rely on convenience, and sometimes convenience means that I want to use one app to talk to my friends, to talk to my family, and to make plans for travel and do everything within one app. This sort of convenience does have its appeal to people everywhere. So there is a huge chance that adoption will spike provided the tool positions itself well, the reach is really amplified, and also the responses are refined and further refined. And like I mentioned, more of the journey actually happens within the tool instead of me having to follow along links. It would be interesting to understand where the opportunity lies for short-term rental management companies, for property management companies beyond the big three, right? Right now, we saw results from Airbnb, we saw Booking.com mentioned, called out by name, Expedia called out by name, we saw hotels, but we didn't see anything beyond obvious responses. And there is a plethora of short-term rental managers in all these destinations that we just looked up. So there's no reason why they shouldn't show up. So really, that integration, maybe bigger platforms have a better chance because they are likely to create these partnerships that make sure your property shows up in a query. However, if the opportunity opens up for more versatile results to show up in response, just for example, what we saw in case of Perplexity Travel, right? We didn't just see options from Booking.com, Vrbo, or Airbnb. We saw a lot of more popular property management companies in those destinations that have great reviews, etc. Review integration is another thing that I didn't really see here. And again, another possibility for improvement, for evolution. And it would be interesting when that also becomes available to managers outside, to companies outside Airbnb, Booking.com, and big hotels. And again, that's also more useful to me as a traveler. That gives me more choice and makes it easier for me to book something closer to what I want instead of what's just available for me. And for the platform itself, obviously, it improves conversion too. And if you use, and in some near or distant future, if someone's able to find you through GuideGeek, and able to book from within GuideGeek using WhatsApp. And so theoretically, you can just continue using WhatsApp. That integration already exists for you to message your guests on the guest communication part and make sure that they get all the critical information they need about their stay, which is a recipe for successful guest communication and a good experience for the guests as well. So really at this point is one of several experiments that are trying to make trip planning using AI as easy as texting a friend. This case stands out because it's meeting travelers where they already are in their chat apps instead of making them go elsewhere. And for short-term rental managers, this is a glimpse at what the future of trip planning looks like. The inspiration, the planning, the communication, all of that in one chat thread. Would you use WhatsApp to plan your next trip? Again, my name is Yuvika Wahi. I'm from RCU by PriceLabs. If you want to stay on top of this series, stay connected with us, and also watch the rest of the upcoming videos, do hit subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.